Yo, it's your boy Vegabomber here, and welcome to Vegabomber Land. Alright, the subject of this video, I know it's a little bit late, but it is Doctor Strange. This film actually was pretty good. Now, I did a video earlier talking about where I ranked these films, even though I hadn't seen this film. So in a way, this will also not only just be a spoiler review, but also an addendum to the video where I had it placed before. And we'll talk about that towards the end of the video. So yeah, I know most people have probably already seen this movie, but here's something I can add to this movie to make it a little different. Actually, this video a little different. And that is, let's talk about what it's doing in the box office first. Then we'll get into the movie, and then we'll get into the ranking where it ranks now. So in terms of the film itself, numerically, it's doing pretty good. It's been #1 2 weeks in a row. Domestically, the film has done $168 million. Now, the budget for this film was $165 million. So they've done pretty well. Now, worldwide, it's done $509 million roughly at this stage of the game. Now, it's not $1 billion, which is where Civil War went earlier this year, and it's not 800 and something million, which is where Batman v Superman landed. But hey, it's only week 3 now. So it'll get time to climb, and I'm sure it'll be there. And now let's talk about the film, like whether you should go see it or not. So this film is the latest film in the Disney Marvel productions. This film's director is Scott Derrickson. And so he had the task of saying, how do I bring in the mystical side, the magic side, the wizard side of the Marvel franchise? And he then gets Doctor Strange as a way to bring that in. Now, to me, I thought they did this with Thor, but they're saying that that's just science that we don't understand yet. Okay, we'll go with that. So Doctor Strange, you get to show us what the mystical world will look like. So this is the origin story, if you will, about Dr. Stephen Strange, who's a very arrogant neuroscientist who's doing all kinds of brain surgeries, and he's the guy, right? He's the guy that you want to get to come in and do any kind of thing that has to do with surgery of the brain because he's good. Only problem is he's very arrogant. Kind of reminds you of another guy named maybe Tony Stark a little bit. Well, yeah, but this would be like older, and basically what Tony is to tech, that's how he is to neurology and neuroplasty and everything neuroscience. So yeah, a bit arrogant, but probably not nearly as funny. And we'll talk about the humor in this thing a little bit as well. So as it would be in the origin story, what you imagine is Dr. Strange gets into a car accident, and now he can't use his hands. So without the use of his hands, he's just a normal Joe. And of course, that doesn't sit well with him at all because, again, he's got an elevated sense of self. But now this injury is going to cause him to look at himself in a different light. And so in the film, what we see is Benedict Cumberbatch, or was it Benedict Cumberbatch? Well, one of those. He's going to show you what it looks like to be arrogant, take a fall, and then have to look at the world through different eyes. So as a result of this accident, what Doctor Strange ends up doing is going to the Far East, because now he's going to look into Eastern arts and Eastern medicine, if you will, to handle his situation. So we know he's going to eventually go into a training montage, which will remind you of the Matrix, because he'll have to meet the Enlightened One, or the Ancient One, as it were. And this would be played by Tilda Swinton, I believe. So what she basically is a hairless female Ben Kenobi to Doctor Strange's older Luke Skywalker. So, arrogantly, Doctor Strange, or Stephen Strange at this point, decides that she's wrong because science. And science tells us everything we need to know about the world. To which the Ancient One has to show him that there's something going on that's much larger than just science in the world that you don't understand yet that could help you. And also, it'd be nice if you could lose that side of arrogance that you have. So in all of this, he ends up has to learn, what does it mean to understand these ancient arts, these things that were written down also in books that he could study, just like he had to study his neuroscience books. And would he be willing to get past himself to see another dimension, another part of the world, that maybe the part of the world that you can't possibly explain? And so that was incredible. I like that scene. I'd also say that when you look at the idea of the runtime of this film, it's helpful that it's only 1 hour and 55 minutes, because this movie, if it goes too long, like Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, perhaps, you could get a little tired of the concepts, but they do a beautiful job of showing you the cinematography here, which is the bending in, the folding in of reality through like a mirror-looking complex type deals, and it's just an interesting visual piece that actually nobody could argue that they aren't good, because they actually are. I would say another great thing about this film would be the performance, and in this case, the performance not necessarily so much about Benedict Cumberbatch, but really Tilda Swinton. Now, there were a lot of problems with this early on. This was about whitewashing a character who was an Asian male. We make him a female white woman. But if you can get past that long enough, what you'll see is she actually had the best character development in this movie, I would say. I'd argue even better than Stephen Strange. We got to understand and learn some things about her, and pretty soon it was quick. We were quick to forget all the controversy and just see it. Maybe perhaps it was the way it was written, but I really dug the way Tilda Swinton played this character. She did a great job at playing the Ancient One, calm, but also maybe a little flawed in her thinking and the way she looks at the world too. So that's an interesting piece to that, which made it juicy in terms of trying to understand her as a character. And then you have Mads Mikkelsen, which is kind of weird because he's a great actor, but I don't know that the villain here was strong enough to make this movie stand up taller than it could have, but we'll talk about that soon. The other things I like about this film also would just be the message itself that Doctor Strange needs to understand, because he believes that everything is just science, and she's about to show him that there is a supernatural, there is a cause, there is something better to fight for than just yourself, and that's exactly what he thinks. So since we're already talking casting, this is the problem in terms of what went wrong with the casting, and that would be Mads Mikkelsen as the villain just didn't seem to have enough to do. We didn't understand much about him. We didn't know much about his motivation. Sure, they thinly veiled it and kind of said some things about it, but in terms of development, I don't know what more so was his whole thing. I didn't really get anything other than that he was just there to be the bad guy and then go up against Benedict Cumberbatch. That's all I really got from him. So unfortunately, that's a waste, because if you've ever seen Mads Mikkelsen in a film, the brother can act, and so we didn't really get to see that here. He filled a role. That's about it. Now, that's not the only problem I would say with this film. There was also another problem with this film when you get away from the casting, and this would be Marvel's penchant for just trying to hang on to jokes. It's almost like Marvel says, well, everybody goes to DC movies to see grimy reality dirt stuff, and well, for us, we're just going to be the comedians, and we're going to be funny, and we're going to make people laugh while they're watching their heroes kick butt. And well, that kind of works in a Rush Hour 3 kind of way for some people, but not me. What I really wanted to see was when Mads Mikkelsen challenges Doctor Strange, that's not the time for jokes. We're talking about bending of realities here. And so the jokes that they try to put in here, to me, fell completely flat. The fact that the cape was almost its own entity and tried to fight and do all this stuff too, while it was a good idea at first and inventive, it kind of wore on you. So again, you know, it's okay to have a little bit of seriousness in a film. It's okay to have only 2 or 3 jokes. Films have done it. Gladiator was able to put 2 or 3 jokes in it without going overboard, and you still love the film for what it is. Even Star Wars did the same thing. There were a couple of jokes. They weren't looking to quip every 5 minutes. Marvel, you got to fix that, because the bomber, well, says so. Now, the last thing I'd say to this film, and again, this doesn't stop it from being watchable, is some of the plot contrivances. There were some things I would have liked to have had explained a little bit more. Like, what were the rest of the people doing that were also training at that center that the Ancient One was at? What were they doing? What were they about? What parts were they? Where were they in some of the fight scenes? I mean, I guess they showed up, but you could have explained more. And I thought the training seemed like it was too quick, too fast for him to go from super arrogant to all of a sudden, yeah, I think I could buy that. And then I would say, finally, the end point, since this is spoiler talk, the way they showed Dormammu at the end, it was pretty bad. It was almost as bad as the way the Fantastic Four displays Doctor Doom. He's supposed to be this big, colossal, big bad, but in a way it's kind of cheesy. But you understood why they did it, but it was really kind of a missing point for this film. So what's my overall? Because again, a film can be good and still have some nitpicks about it, or maybe even some plot holes or plot contrivances. What did I think overall? Well, I'll say this. For somebody who's not a Doctor Strange fan, who's a little kind of tired of the formulaic Marvel deal right now, this film is actually ranked a lot higher than what I put it in my last video. So my last video, I had put this film at number 10. I actually would move it up and move the others down 1 to number 8. I would say it's the number 8 ranked Marvel film that has come out. So I'm going to say that this film, it's not bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought that I was invested in it. But at the end of the day, is it really memorable, and will I really care about it? Will it have the same impact on me as, say, Civil War? The answer would be no. Not at all. Not close. And that could be some Black Panther bias, but hey, I could also be right too. All right, guys, so that's at least my thought. And that's what I thought of the film. So now it's your turn, and I'll meet you in the comment section below. Tell me, what did you think of Doctor Strange, and where did you put it on your list? And also, is this a film that maybe you had some different ideas? Maybe there were some things about it that I just missed. Well, put it in the comment section below. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and also share it with your friends. And I also want to give a couple of shout outs. I want to give a big shout out to Poet Glass, who helped me put this together, helped me get everything set up today that you see today. So if you like the lighting, if you like the setup, it was my man Poet Glass that did that, and he's with One Drop Cinema Productions. That's what it is. That's what he's with. And we're going to do some more collaborations because you guys need to see good videos. Anyway, it's your boy Vegabomber, and I'm out. You crack! Another home run. It's just always home runs whenever I do it. I don't know why that is.